is
Who are you?
Tim. Did you meet Tim? Tim Rittenbush.
You're the person. Yeah, you're on the call. Huh?
You were on the call.
Yeah, I was on the call, but yeah, trust me, from that other side, you can't tell anything that's going on there.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Upper Charles Trail Committee, and I would like to advise you that we are being recorded. Do I see anyone in the audience that is a member of our committee that we have to go through the roll call? I don't see anyone. Okay, so we can just start our meeting. So, first of all, welcome, and I would like to ask anyone who might have questions or comments from the public to raise your hand and introduce yourself and share with us what you while we're handing out.
Yes.
And, oh, thank you, Jamie. Tim could probably use some down here too, or Tim, maybe you want to walk around and pick up. He's gonna walk around. Okay. All right, I don't see any hands up from the audience or any hands up here. So we will get into our first discussion, which I am going to put on the back so that we can get through number 4 first, and then we'll pick up number 3. Neither of our engineers could be with us tonight, so we can do that on our convenience, and the map is over there, so we can go over there and discuss that. So, Jamie, I did speak with, this has been a tough one because for whatever reason, everything, holidays, push back meetings, whatever, this has gotten pushed back to the back burner. So we're going to start with it tonight. So this is the last frequently asked questions, and Jamie had a lot of points that she wanted to discuss. So I did speak with, because this is a town document, what they would like us to do if we can consolidate our questions or comments somehow with the item number, then they can go back and review it, because how they compiled this is that they reached out to other various department heads to gather the necessary facts. And, if it pertains.
Oh, I thought you said that they watched videos to get the
They did.
information.
They watched videos, they did telephone calls, they did conferences, they did all kinds of discussions to come up with the most accurate they could. So I'm not sure how the committee would like to proceed. I know Jamie and we had some comments about it, so I'm gonna.
I have an idea for how to
Sure.
have the conversation. I think identifying the purpose of the FAQ is important, because until we know what the purpose of the document is and how the questions are being gathered, I don't think we can make any decisions about what to do about the document.
So do you think it would be helpful if at the top of the
No, I think-
FAQ, this
Broadly, going forward, what is the purpose of, like, if this is a town generated document
yeah,
and it's new information that they were calling other departments, because previously I thought it was just that they watched back meetings to fill these out. So that's new information to me, but my understanding had been from before that the questions were questions that maybe came in through email or phone calls, and then
some written, I think, in the meeting.
okay, so that questions were gathered somewhere. And then town staff was spending hours upon hours developing this document. And it was merely emailed to the committee. And the 3 prior were sort of, oh, yep, looks fine. And then this one, when I saw it, was the first FAQ since I've been here.
Sure,
And I had a lot of questions. I never intended for it to become
that's okay.
what it's become, but I think that what the purpose of the document is should be defined, because I don't imagine that this is meeting the purpose we intend. And so if we define the purpose,
Mhm.
that may help us figure out how to move forward.
Okay.
Agree. Just gives it context, right?
Well, then,
So, yeah, sure. I don't think anyone's going to object to that. I mean, it certainly simplifies, probably easier for the writer too. I mean, if they're going to look at something and
Right.
say, okay, we want to answer these questions as best we can. I mean, is that the purpose?
Well, and I think defining, so now we have all these outreach efforts happening. So we're going to be gathering more feedback from the community.
Yeah.
But I think identifying where questions are coming from, because to consider a question a frequently asked question, shouldn't that be a question that's asked more than once? And is there a critical mass that makes it a frequently asked question?
Okay. Well, these are all good questions.
I don't think you need to put a number on it. If one person has a really good question,
Who decides if it's really good?
I don't know, but it could be that
well,
the
common
repetitious,
sense of
if people,
doing this for
if
12
12
years.
Okay, so you, I just like, cause
No,
like people have different
People-
opinions. So
We can discuss it.
Yeah.
I agree with Eric, and I agree with your point as well, Jamie, if I may, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I agree with you, Eric. I think there is a common sense element to it where, but there should also be sort of a little discussion by our committee if it's about our committee, right? Eric, where maybe you say, this is a really good one. I say, oh, you know what, I've heard that before, or I've thought that before, let's put it down, right? Because we think we're gonna get more.
Mhm.
So I think there's a common sense. I agree. It doesn't have to be volume. I agree by definition,
the
maybe
way we
frequently.
could- You're right. The way we could do that is to staff compile something like this into two sections. One, where it's clear that a lot of people have asked the question.
Yeah.
And then a section saying
Other questions.
other questions that have merit or could have merit. And then those are the ones we'll sit down
I
and
think
say,
we want to skip the of merit because it might be of merit or not merit to us, but it might mean something to the person that asked it.
well, merit is a bad word.
Yeah, that I know, but I
Notable.
understand.
Notable.
Or another
S-
other question, other than these 12 questions that were similar. If it's a separate
Mhm. And through the
off
chair.
topic.
So I think, this conversation and a good topic, I think the challenge, I think where anybody can jump in and correct me if you disagree or whatever, but the lines have been blurred between the public saying, hey, you're not answering my questions, to, hey, we want to communicate what we believe are frequent or relevant or notable questions. I think those lines have been blurred. And so to Jamie's point, is the purpose of this to say we've heard all the questions and here's all the answers? Perfectly fine if that's the objective, or is it, to the topic we're discussing, these are the really notable ones we believe are significant and could move the needle or impact how we as a committee vote or how the public may react, right? So there's sort of two different purposes, and I think those lines have been blurred, and that's why I think this probably turned into something bigger than it should have been, but anybody?
Okay, so we're gonna go on the table. Ken, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Well, I do think that a lot of Jamie's comments made sense, and there ought to be a mechanism whereby we can kind of correct or amend, I should say, some of the answers made that smooth things out a little bit. Whether we should actually be, maybe there should be a subcommittee or something to deal with this. I don't know.
Well, we tried the subcommittee route and
Yeah.
there was problems with that because it was felt that it should be a regular meeting topic.
Yeah.
So we tried the subcommittee. That was not
Right.
gonna work on this particular issue. Okay,
But I mean, a lot of them are pretty straightforward and I don't know what mechanism we ought to use to determine which ones to use, which ones not to, but I think it is the case that we should try to make the answers as friendly sounding to the public as possible, and the original comments were pretty standoffish in a way. And defensive in places that were not helpful. But maybe that's not what you're asking.
Yeah, no, I don't know, and I think that that becomes subjective. You know, when you're looking at these, what becomes offensive or not offensive, I don't know how to answer that. Eli, do you have a comment?
Not really. I agree with Ken that this should be the work of a subcommittee and not take up the time of the full committee. I heard what you said that it didn't work, but I think we should try again.
Well, maybe we should amend that. So the subcommittee should just plain propose alternative language, and then present back to the committee what they've suggested, that's all. But the full committee should certainly be able to weigh in on whatever the changes in language are. That would be my recommendation.
But we still don't have a purpose for these. Are they to answer all the questions we've received?
We
Or
don't know
the-
that yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to get through that. Let's, yeah, no.
We can't
I think-
amend them.
Thank you for
We're gonna have
bringing it.
10 opinions.
Yeah. Okay, Jamie, let's go around again.
So
But me.
No.
we're going around
We're
the
going-
table. I'm sitting.
Oh, I thought you started it.
I opened the conversation. Jane was facilitating.
I thought you had already
No,
given us.
that's
your opinion.
okay. It is, let's keep going. This is good conversation. Let's keep it going.
So I think that it makes sense to answer any question that seems important. I think the purpose of the document should be to help simplify and clarify communication with the public. That was something that we had gotten back as problematic in those feedback forms. And so utilizing the FAQ to present clear information, respectful information that clearly values feedback that we receive, I think would go a long way to promoting a positive relationship with the community, which has been a little shaky. And so to that purpose, I think identifying questions or themes of questions, I don't think that we need to quote exact questions necessarily. If there's a bunch on a theme, we can explain the topic, or depending on what the questions are. I think that would be reasonable.
Okay. Now, Eric, you're on.
Well, the first thing I would do is get rid of the words frequently asked questions. Call it questions. The second thing I would do is make sure that every question was in the document. Because if we don't do that, it will look like we're trying to hide something. So these are all the questions. They're in order of how many people asked them. The most asked question is the first one on the page. The least asked is the last thing. And answer them. We can still put them together, but when you say frequently asked, that means you've already made a value judgment on the question, whether included or not.
We're discussing.
Yeah. Do you think go back to like the FAQ one, or just starting from like this one?
I don't know what FAQ one is.
This is the fourth one.
Fourth one.
So I just like for the
No,
like
let's-
just kind of going forward. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was like, ooh, that's a lot.
No,
That's why I'm involved. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then go back to start.
Me too.
At the beginning.
So let me ask this, having heard that, would you suggest we,
Did you get to?
oh, I'm sorry, Tim.
It's okay.
You're too quiet. You don't.
I have no. You guys might think you guys are making sense. But with no Text, all I hear is questions about questions. I have no idea where the original questions came from, why we're asking questions about the questions. Part of that's my.
Little
fault.
background.
Why we didn't
Back this
ask
way. Right, so I would, like, no question should ever go unanswered. But I understand that as a board, it's difficult to come up with a board answer because some of the questions are quite difficult. But Are there questions coming in someplace into the town that aren't getting answered?
Just a little background information. These questions developed after the, was it 2 or 3 public meetings that we had? And I think most of them came out of one public meeting, or was it 2? I'm not, anyway, I have to go back in time and check. But all of those questions went to, the town staff
Okay,
to answer. The committee did not do that.
yeah, so they were
So-
questions that
They,
different citizens asked of the town.
correct, at these town meeting, at these town.
Right, and they didn't know who else to ask, they just asked.
No, we asked them to ask questions and leave comments.
Oh, okay, so that's,
Public
Okay,
meeting. So
great.
they were free to ask anything or,
okay,
you know, ask any question or leave a comment.
Yep.
So they were collected by the town staff. And there was quite a lot of number. I don't know how many.
right,
It was multiple. So what they do is they followed a process that they follow using town guidelines. And Elaine, correct me if I'm wrong, but this process is used in other town projects that they have. So this has been tried and true for them.
Right.
So for instance, if somebody asked the same type of a question, why are you coming down Hayden Row and, you know, crossing at 3 points or whatever?
they watched, they
They-
watched those meetings. And they-
Yeah, and
they-
so if 12
get out of
people
the section.
asked it in a similar manner,
Mm.
they put those in one
Bucket,
bucket and said, okay, this is a frequent, to your point, a frequently asked question.
yep, okay,
They didn't identify the number of people that asked. Then they gave the answer that an engineer would give. So it, quite often it may, but it's based on facts. And the town engineer would call other department heads or other town staff
Mhm.
to make sure that they got the exact facts. So it might sometimes come across as dry, and I guess obviously from what I'm hearing tonight, it did. Or I don't know what the word might be, maybe it's not sympathetic or offensive.
no, defensive.
Defensive, yeah.
Or
It's the
whatever.
exact adjective I heard, so, and that's a pretty good adjective. So-
And so
Okay,
it is what it is.
So we're trying to decide how to improve the answers
So I
or
think
whether to.
a couple of things.
The process.
I think at the process. So
Yeah.
I think
How is it
a couple of things.
Right.
Do we want to go out over this in a subgroup and go over all of this and then submit
Right.
all of our comments and questions back
Do
to
the answers
the
get posted?
author?
Do the answers get posted to a website someplace?
Yes,
So-
these are online right now.
Yeah, and do we have our own?
Yes, we do.
And so people who are just new to this subject, they go to our website, they read the stuff and they go, I don't quite get it. I've got this one question. And then they read the facts and they go, oh, that's kind of what I was thinking. What's the answer to this? And then they read that and they go, oh, now I understand. And so when I've seen that in like support forums and stuff like, oh, I've got a problem with my computer, it will do X, Y, Z and through the facts and none of them ever line up.
Doesn't apply.
Or the answer is turn the computer on, turn it back on. So,
Doesn't really help.
right. But that's what we're imagining is that, and so usually I look at the facts and I either like, I can't believe somebody asked that question. I got that in the first seconds of the manual or whatever. And then the other questions are like, oh, that doesn't apply to me. So doesn't seem like
It
it's
doesn't,
frequent.
yeah.
But anyway, but I can understand how frequently asked questions might be helpful in this particular case because you can't watch, most citizens can't watch us chat about frequently asked questions for half an hour every Thursday. So being able to kind of get summaries of what's going on and get the background of the 10-year project is good. So it does make sense to me to have a frequently asked question and try to float the more common ones to the top. It also makes sense to me not to leave a citizen hanging
Mhm.
and not answer their question. However, I would think it would be better if we could directly answer them instead of go look for your question to see if it made the frequently asked questions and then there'll be an answer.
Yeah,
It's a little bit tough, but I assume that there's other ways that people can ask us questions without them having to
Yeah.
go to this, straight to this board. So if we are simply trying to provide some small level of answers to people who might also have that question, because a frequently asked question is not an answer for the person who asked the question. It's a-
No, it's a
It's an
generic-
answer for the next person who has the same question. So we don't need to be concerned about, oh, we didn't answer that person's question. We have other methods of doing that, I hope. And if not, then we need to think about that kind of separately. So to me, that's a little bit of a separate issue, but that's just me. And I think I've used up my time. So that's my,
Oh, it's good.
They're all very good points, and I think it goes back to your very last point, is we don't necessarily have a smooth process of responding to those questions. And that's my comment of how the public, not necessarily us, but the public has been blurring the lines and saying, hey, well, I want to start seeing all of the emails that were sent, because I'm not seeing my question here, right? Remember? So, you do remember. So I think that it goes to putting at the very top, and Jane, I trust that you're accurate, but we should verify with Dave
Yep.
that these are in fact questions that were received at the workshops. Put it huge capital letters, these are questions received at the workshop. So people don't say, I don't see my question posted, to Eric's point. It's all questions that were received at workshops, not necessarily all questions that were received through other means.
And these questions are direct quotes. Like these are very clearly individual questions on this FAQ. And my understanding, if I can clarify, what I thought you were saying, Ken, was that maybe a subgroup should answer questions that are collected and then, or edit the answers that are generated and then bring it back, not dive through this document that I never intended to become a long conversation. Was that, or did you mean this document?
No, but Jamie, to your point, I think it's good to have this conversation because
Sure.
clearly we want to make the process better, and if it's
Yeah.
not working, I think there are some things that we can plow through
Great.
and get to some level of compromise, especially where we, want to take what's a working method with the town staff and make recommendations maybe.
Well, do we own this document or just because it
No, it's
looks,
the town.
so I think that if that's the case, that needs to be clear because it looks like it's our document that the committee is answering.
Oh,
Like it's on our website. It's,
Our document,
I agree. I feel like it should be also,
to own it.
But if we don't, then
but if we don't, then maybe it should be somewhere else.
we don't own it right now and we're working on owning it.
And then not spend any time on it and move on.
Yeah, like it's confusing.
If we own it, we talk a lot about it and work on it. If we don't own it, let's move on.
Right, I agree.
But even if
That's a
We move on.
good summary.
yeah.
I think we spent enough time on it.
Well, no, I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't think we have a resolution.
And if I may, oh, please, Elaine.
I would just say, even if you decide to just let these be and move on, you should decide what you want to do differently moving on. So when you get new questions, how are you going to handle that?
Would
Um,
that be acceptable to you, Jamie, if we just?
Well, can we
This-
also agree to label these appropriately, that these are not generated by us? Like, because I think that's an important point.
And my suggestion would be that we let it sit as a town-generated document, Dave and all the folks we asked to help us with it. And that is that. And then moving forward, we figure out.
Yeah,
exactly
figure out a
how-
new thing.
How we own it.
And I'm sorry that Dave isn't here, because I feel like when I wrote these questions on the document, sorry, I'm touching your thing. When I wrote the questions, I thought I was asking you, and then it felt like, ugh, if Dave reads these, when I was just sort of free thinking typing, I was not like thoughtfully examining each one. This was my reactions. I feel like they can come across critical of his work. And the work that went into them was unclear to me. And I also feel like it's not an efficient use of his time. But that's really not my call. But I think that it does make more sense going forward to, if there are questions to the committee, it seems like we should be answering them.
I don't know if we have the skill set or the time.
Well, if there's something that we don't know the answer to, then I think we kick that over to our specialists, but
Well, I think we let the staff do their thing. We throw it up on our website. And if anybody comes back with a second question on it, then we address it.
We still label it that it's town produced not UCTC generated. We don't own it.
Town produced
A month ago, I proposed to this group that we don't work on this, so I would love if that would be the result of this discussion. We don't work on this document any further.
That's my,
Should I motion for it?
you and I are on the same page.
However, I learned from the red stuff. I learned, so for me as a member of this committee, I felt like I was seeing it through someone's eyes, and it happens that they're yours, but it was a help to me in that I saw how someone other than myself,
Right, I think.
interpret it. It was a help.
I thought it was helpful too, in that I thought that there were a lot of places that Jamie pointed out, like dates are important.
Yeah.
Simple things. It wasn't a lot, but it was, simple things, identifying different things. I'd have to go through it again.
Even things like how we define a butter, when the date is, and I understand that, when these were generated, there may have been almost all longstanding committee members who had been here for all these discussions. And as a new committee member,
Okay, so
I'm trying to understand, I was like, that
So-
doesn't make sense.
going forward, this could be helpful for the town staff if they had a list of commonly used words that are commonly used, like a butter. Dates are important. What else in the document could we help that would be?
Identify the author.
Identify the author. What else?
If we're telling people in the document to look at the website, I think actually linking where they should go instead of
Place
saying,
the link.
oh, go to the website and find it if you want to know. Like, just give them.
No, this is all good. So actually place the link in the document.
Right, like,
Yeah.
because if we're telling, like, we're trying to help people, not put up roadblocks.
Right. No, I think this is all good. What else? Just thumbing through the document, folks. What else could we help
I
folks?
think you got it.
No,
I think that's it, myself.
I think some of my questions are resolved simply by clarifying that this is not a UCTC document.
Mhm. Okay.
And do we want people to email questions about the Upper Charles Trail Committee to Michelle, or should they be emailing questions
Right.
to
Yeah, who?
the UCTC?
That is-
Well, all of the questions that came to me, and there were quite a few, were generated because of the policy that we've been using, and we did get inundated with them. It was best just to send it to the town staff, because that's where they collected all of this stuff and they answered it all at once. But I'm not sure, a lot of them were technical questions, and to be accurate, I did not want to be inaccurate. So I don't have the, a lot of the engineering data in my head. So it went to Michelle, that's what they're trained to do. That's their job. And they could whip this out, and that's what town support staff does. They support various committees. And they're professionals. This
And
is
so
their job.
So that was to say that you think that people who have questions about Upper Charles Trail should email Michelle.
They can email Michelle. I think it was that put out there that I think they came to me, to the
Are you
chair.
talking about the form on the website?
Yeah, I think it was either or. I think there were multiple choices.
I would expect.
Yeah.
I thought someone told me what to vote.
Yeah,
Well, why not? We should, it's.
it's all
I mean,
public information
one
anyway.
thing- One thing anyone can do from town is always interact with any of the members of the people that are on the committee. They can come to one of our meetings
Yeah.
and, weigh in whatever their comments and are at that time. And we hold a public event like we just did last night. It's last night, right?
Yep.
I know.
Uh,
That was great.
People can come there and ask us questions then. Those are the options and,
Yeah, every meeting, we open it with questions. Do you have a question or a comment?
right.
So I think,
Right, it's because on the form, like within this, it's set, like, people are being directed to email Michelle.
Yeah,
And
and
that's why I'm
I
asking.
think, having a single point where questions come in, a town employee is probably a wise thing to do. If Michelle collates them and brings them back to us, if that's the process, moving forward, I think that's reasonable. And it prevents you and everybody one-off, and if we get one-offs, maybe we should forward them to Michelle so she can aggregate them.
no, I think
We
that's a
got-
great
we have to talk
idea.
about a process for that, because I don't think we really have
Yeah,
that.
no, we don't.
That would be a good idea, that's right.
That way, it's off of our plate of having to worry about it being in our inbox.
No, I don't think we're all busy people. Oops. Yeah, so Jim Cirillo. Jim is being admitted right now. Hi, Jim. Now
Not there yet.
take a roll call.
And the time is.
Yep, there he is. Hi, Jim. Welcome. I don't know if he's on board yet. Are you? No, that's great.
And then Michelle can disseminate. Question.
Right.
Deliver to the right inbox.
When I referred to, they spent hours watching tapes. Michelle actually did go and review all of our meetings through HCAM to get the facts of what we said, what we voted on. She reviewed
But I think this
minutes.
is different. We're talking about the go forward and the process.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, having a single point to take all of our inboxes and the chair's inbox and everything to go to one person that can at least have a record of it.
Mhm.
That way residents can't say, and maybe we don't respond because our inboxes are
No,
full.
I tell you,
But Michelle can keep us honest and say there were 33 questions this week and maybe she prints them out and says, here's they are. We have to figure out the process, probably more than what the topic today is, but it sounds like Michelle should be here and we should sound it out.
Maybe she knows a process that works.
You guys are right.
There's Jim.
hey, Jim, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you? I finally figured out there was a new link to the meet, so here I am. Sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay. We're talking about how to improve our process for
Answering questions.
answering frequently asked questions at the next public meeting we have.
Right.
So I think you're right, Scott. We do have time to talk about that process. I think we covered a lot of ground tonight. Does anyone have anything else? Jamie, how are you feeling right now about this? I think we've got some definite good things going forward. A definition of abutter, some dates, identify the author, place a link in the document. Identify a purpose for the document. Identify where the questions are coming from. Okay, so I'll try and, well, this will be in our minutes anyway, but,
Yeah, I'll catch up.
okay.
Just go forward. I'll catch up. But yes, to all that.
Yeah, and it sounds like, right, so the plan going forward is just to identify that the documents that are on our website are generated by town staff, not Upper Charles Trail Committee.
Correct.
Either, and then with the date that they were generated, and either we can ask that things go back in and add the dates of things that are being referenced in the document, or we can just say, that's from the past, we're gonna have a different process moving forward, which either sounds fine to me.
Okay.
As long as we're identifying what it is,
Mhm.
who's in charge of it, I think that's
Who wrote it.
important,
Mhm,
because
yeah.
it looks like it's us that's in charge of it, but it's not, which is fine.
That's fair enough. Any other thoughts going around the table? Does that sound comfortable for everyone? That we
Yes.
kind of leave this in the past? And do you think that there's a further need to identify a process? Or can we leave it with this outline and pass it on to the staff? Not an outline.
I'm okay with this document, the way we discussed it.
Mhm.
I do think a future agenda item with Michelle is a discussion around, is she comfortable? I volunteered her for being the single point, but is that really her job and comfortable? So we have to sort of figure that part out for inbound questions. And I'm talking through emails and being pulled aside in public or whatever. We should try to figure out a proper.
Yeah, we'll
single point
probably
that
have to
collate
go,
those.
and I agree, and we'll probably have to work with Dave with that,
Mhm.
because I think Michelle works under Dave, correct?
And the next item is,
Is everyone comfortable with that so far?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. So the next one, we're going to go, I guess we can talk about the report from the town manager's office in response to the questions forwarded to the town council's office and their response in regards to the Upper Charles questions in regards to the legal, that's long-winded, but basically. Did you get the legal opinion back?
Yes. So the committee had 3 questions to ask of town council. And so the first one was, can town meeting dictate what the CPC does with funding through articles that aren't part of CPC's own article with recommendations? In other words, would a vote not to spend public funds on section 7 prohibit the CPC from recommending and town meeting voting favorably on a funding request for segment 7 in the future? And the response was, town meeting does not have authority over the recommendations that the CPC brings to town meeting. Town meeting has authority over appropriations and spending, so it can pass a vote denying or rescinding a previously approved vote on public funds to a certain project. So, if you need me to repeat that.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
Continuing, it says, such a vote, however, if to say town meeting votes to indicate that no funds be spent on segment 7, such a vote would not be a forever rule. If a future CPC recommended appropriating funds to the project and a future town meeting voted in favor of that appropriation, that would be permissible. So town meeting does not have the authority to bind a future town meeting decision about appropriations.
Makes sense.
So they would have, they would have the authority to restrict.
Approve and rescind funding.
Even depending on which order the articles were asked in. Would depend on which one was going for. So in other words, if we voted to not spend any money on section 7 and then voted later in the same town meeting to spend money on section 7, we would spend money.
no, you can't do it.
Not in the same meeting.
There won't be an issue with this coming town. meeting. There's no much going forward for segment 7.
Makes sense. I mean, that's kind of the case with everything.
Right, it's with every,
I mean, it doesn't
there's nothing unique.
restrict us, yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
So the second question, does Hopkinton's town meeting have the ability to abolish and establish boards and committees that are not established by statute, bylaw, or charter? The answer he gives is the citizens petition article in question is to vote to direct the town manager to abolish the UCTC. Town meeting does not have the authority to direct the town manager's actions in this regard. At best, such a vote would be advisory only. The charter referenced vests authority in the town manager to consolidate, create, merge, divide, or abolish in whole or in part any town department, board, or committee or office over which the town manager has control as part of an administrative order. That section of the charter gives town meeting no authority over such orders, which is subject to review by the select board. Thus, not only does town meeting lack authority to direct the town manager to issue such an order, but town meeting also lacks the authority to review it. And also, he also referenced that the section of the charter that's mentioned in the article refers to the fact that town meeting can establish committees by bylaw, but a bylaw is not proposed in this instance. So that's a way that town meeting can establish a committee, but it has to be through bylaw.
Can you read the last sentence of legal
So-
opinion again?
Not only does town meeting lack authority to direct, in quote, direct the town manager to issue such an order, but town meeting also lacks authority to review it. And that's vested in the charter.
So the bottom line is town meeting can vote as they wish, but it has no binding authority on the town manager.
That's correct.
It's under advisement for the town manager,
Right.
basically.
And then the third question, unless there's no other.
No, that's fine.
Third question is.
Oh, I think Jim had his hand up.
No, I think he's just resting his eyes.
No, I have my hand up.
What do you do? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Left it higher.
I forgot what the question was, so we'll get back to it if I remember. Go ahead.
Write it down.
Try to remember.
And the final.
I want to know.
The final question was, does the Trail Coordination and Management Committee have the authority to establish and appoint subcommittees? He refers to his prior answer and says, to the extent that town manager has created committees or other entities pursuant to the town manager's authority under the charter, it remains the town manager's authority through the issuance of administrative orders to create, abolish, or otherwise modify those committees or entities and their respective authorities.
But we create
So, no.
subcommittees.
So
So I
it's
think
a-
the way the question was asked, legal might not necessarily get the answer we.
So there will be a written letter to this effect, and hopefully we'll get tomorrow and we'll post it on the website. And it-
Is there a
it's
difference be-
All of the citizens petitions, not just this one. So,
Is there a legal difference between a subcommittee and a work group?
Not under the open meeting law, there isn't. They're the same.
No, what I mean is on the authority, can we establish our own work group? Or do we have to go through
You can
normal?
have a subcommittee or a working group of your own members. But in this case, the TCMC is establishing a new committee and not of its own members.
I think
So that's
they were suggesting.
difference.
They were going to appoint their own
A
members.
new committee without their.
There is a difference, right?
Mm.
There is a difference. And we can't establish a subcommittee. We can establish working groups, correct?
You can establish both, but they're comprised of your members.
Right.
TCMC
Yeah,
was
okay.
going to
I got
take
it.
in other people
Right,
and
right.
appoint other people,
They can't
other
do
than
that.
their work, other than their regular meeting
They have to
members.
appoint
Okay.
existing TCMC members.
Yep, okay.
Like we do.
Jane, through you,
Yes.
ask Elaine a question. What's the dealio with ad hoc groups? Is that the ability of a committee like ours to establish an ad hoc group to look into how to maintain notes or something?
Any public body that establishes a group of its own members, is subject to the open meeting law, and is considered a subcommittee and so forth, no matter what you call it.
Okay.
It's still the same.
So we have to post the meeting, we
Right,
have to
take
take
minutes.
minutes and submit them
Mhm.
for approval to the regular board. Yes, Jamie?
That's a question.
Yeah.
So the letter that you read says the town manager creates committees. Is that, I thought that it was that so it's not the select board that creates committees.
Another part of the select board duty. So that this only relates to that section of the charter that was referenced in the petitioner's article,
Uh-huh.
because that's the section they point to.
Got it.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So I think the answer though is that the select board has the authority, but they may or may not delegate it to the town manager. Is that fair?
Correct.
The
there
town
was something
manager
we
doesn't
can't
have the
do.
authority. The select board has the authority. But maybe in the charter, but maybe by vote of the select board.
You gotta go to the charter. What does the charter say? I think it gives it to the town
The
manager.
lawyer said the charter
So-
said.
Town council referred, is talking about the section of the charter that's the subject of this petition and not the whole charter.
Okay, good.
Right.
That's good news. All right.
So as I said, there'll be a letter that reviews all the citizens petitions and will be, hopefully that'll be tomorrow. So this was just in an email.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. What's next, Jane?
All right, so do we want to go look at the map now, or do we want to have report from outreach groups and individuals?
Well, number 6 might be quick.
It might be
Yes.
quick.
Haven't heard from anybody.
Okay, I did hear from Legacy Farms. They changed management coordinator. So I have that information and I
Yeah,
will
we can
forward
put
it
it out.
to you. They're brand new. They just started. So hopefully we can get some traction with this group.
Everybody?
And I haven't heard anybody.
I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay. But everybody's supposed to let me know who you've had outreaches, so. we don't have a-
okay.
so-
Yeah, I thought
You
it
don't have to
was.
do it here and now, you can.
Okay, I thought it was when something happened, but the seniors want the survey electronically paper, and I don't feel that I have permission or that we've reviewed questions
have
that
a
I blew up.
Yeah.
So an
and
outcome
then
for the
I made
agenda.
contacts yesterday, in particular, the mountain biking group, and explained what I would like to talk to them about, and they're very open to have a meeting. I just wanted to know, what was their trail usage, what would they use or not use and stuff like that. So they're open and amenable. And hoping I could do those before I leave.
Do they want a survey as well, or?
I didn't ask them about that. I asked for the meet and greet.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I've already asked the meet and greet of
Right.
seniors.
One topic for a meeting could be a survey or assign a subgroup
Do that,
to come back with a survey, a paper survey.
That for next meeting?
would that be more efficient if we had a,
Next meeting, well, we've got
Look at-
Michelle.
Subgroups are, I feel, productive because you get a small group with a targeted agenda and you bring it back as one of many agenda items at our meetings. Just feels a little,
as long as it's okay with everyone on the committee here at the table, that we,
inversely.
yeah, and virtually. Okay, so then, is anyone volunteering to put us in on this subgroup to work on?
I'm not sure, you know, because my time is
Yeah, you-
running out last week of May.
I'll be on the group. I don't want to lead it.
But, you know, I would participate in any meeting gladly that's scheduled before I leave.
I think the sooner the better. So we
And
can
I will
get this
send
for our next
The
meeting.
bare bones of the survey.
Nothing gonna happen before our next meeting other than town meeting.
Oh, I don't know.
That's coming up.
You said May 3rd here.
I don't know. Oh,
Okay.
Town meeting might still be going on.
Yeah.
Can anybody lead the,
I'm aware of that.
Are you willing to anything, work with Scott?
Mm.
If it's the two of you, it might be easier.
Mhm. But if I may be clear, it would be to give them a draft or a mock-up and present it to the full committee for
Our next meeting.
fixing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, yes, Scott, that'll be great.
Okay, so 6 is done. The Metro West Greenway Coalition meeting, that was a good meeting. We met with all of the chairs from the surrounding Upper Charles Trail committees. And
You brought in, right?
yes, from Ashland.
Oh.
No,
No, the Eli brought the guy.
no,
Listen,
Joel,
Joel.
our,
Rabbi,
yeah. So we
Beaver.
met with him and,
You mean
anyway,
right?
so so we talked about parity again and it was realized that Hopkinton and Ashland are really pushing for parity on this East Coast Greenway path. And we've reached out to both Spilka and Arena DeRosa and the representative for Ashland, and a meeting is pending. So that, that's we'll let you know what happens at that meeting after that.
Yeah.
So, know your vote. I was a little disappointed we didn't get called on. I was ready to share my presentation. But no one had any questions for HCAM, so they didn't call on us. Yep, so that was that.
Pretty quick.
Yep. So the discussion from HOP HO 101 to participate in the public outreach scheduled for Saturday, May 6th at the Hopkinton High School Gymnasium. And we've done these before. They're always a lot of fun. I know I'll be there to do it, and I'm hoping some other folks can be there too. I believe, I didn't put down the time here, but it's Saturday. I think it's like 2 or 3 hours. I can get back to you on that, but anybody that
What time of
can,
day is it?
I don't know. I didn't put it down.
It's not early in the morning, right?
No, I think it's
Mhm.
something like 10 to 2 or something. It's probably on the website, but I think it'd be great if we could get some people there. Reminder to meet the candidates. That was last night and I missed it. Did anyone else see it? I didn't. see it. Anyway,
I
so,
did. It wasn't really, there was a lot of, because school committee is only a contested race. That was the only one that really.
Oh,
had a lot
okay.
of-
It's only questions.
Lots of questions, but
Good.
yeah.
That's
okay,
good.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
that's
back and
great.
try and
Yeah.
pull it up on HCAM. Okay, so maybe now it's the time that we could go and discuss, oh, wait. I'd like the folks who were at the Trails event last night to give, half a second or a half a minute of what their thoughts were. There were quite a few of us there. I personally thought it was great. Let's see, want to go around the table? Jamie, do you want to give your impression?
Sure. Yeah, it was.
Feedback, I guess.
It was busy. It was loud. It was hard to fit. I think if the table that was next to us that was empty were removed, that would have helped a lot. A lot of people were getting stuck from an accessibility standpoint. But yeah, I think it was very well attended. That was nice.
I thought
I like seeing people in the library. I love our library.
it was a great event.
Yeah.
Many, many children. One of the library people who were up front was using a counter. And a good half hour before the end of the event, she had 102 clicks, which I thought was amazing. Kids were very engaged.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was really great to have everybody punch or X their little card because it brought children to the tables. I thought it was a great event. And in particular, I really enjoyed talking to other people
It was
there,
wonderful
presenters.
networking. Ken, you were there.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same as Cynthia. It's pretty much an event aimed at, I came there expecting maybe children of all ages, but the children that actually came were pretty much between about 1 and 8, with hardly anyone older than 8. And that was a little bit of a disappointment to me in particular, because I wanted to talk, up plants and stuff like that. And they were kind of like the crayoning, and one of the things that was best there for the children to do was to make a structure out of those pine cones and stuff.
Yeah.
The Wildwood School.
Yeah, that was, I thought that was really well aimed at the audience that turned up.
Yeah.
And, we had all our maps out there, and so a lot of people looked at all the maps, and I think it was a great way to bring it together. But from what I got out of it, mostly it had to do with talking to other trails people. Like there were a number of people there. There was, SVT, Audubon.
Yeah. It was nice to
State
put a name
Park.
to a face or a face to a name.
Right.
All these.
Yeah, same. I thought it was great. I was surprised as well at the younger audience, but we know the 1 to 8-year-olds are not the ones that knew about the event and they didn't drive there. So what sort of the takeaway was that younger sort of parents or whatever, parents with younger kids are interested in trails.
Yes.
So I think that's a very, very important thing for us to take in.
No, my take was as everyone else's. I really appreciated the engagement from the parents who were with kids building the phones and doing all this other stuff, but they actually did stop and were very interested in where generation of Hayden Row and all that. It was nice to have that conversation and clarify and explain a lot of things. That was interesting. And also, I think Jamie read the same email from Linda Chuse, who did an amazing job, her and her team. And they're not going to repeat this same thing the next year, but they hope to reach out to different types of groups, maybe cyclists. What were some of the other activities that she mentioned? All kinds of different groups, seniors. They want to have like a walking or trail hike for seniors. So they're really reaching out. So I thought it was great. All right, so now we have our map over there of the people who weren't at the meeting.
Jim raised his hand.
Yes, Jim.
Jane, could you define senior, please?
Nobody can walk.
95 and older.
Oh, I love it. Works for me. Thanks.
Everyone in this room excluded.
Depends if you want a discount.
Yeah. Is that true?
It's about half that or
Yeah.
55 or.
Hop 101 is 10 to 3
Oh,
That's a long time.
So setup will be at least 9:30.
at the high school athletic center.
Thank you for doing that, Jamie. Setup.
We have a soccer game and a birthday party. I'm sorry,
Wait.
over there.
We have a very important birthday party too.
Very good.
Okay,
Mine.
Very good.
so now we're going to exit over to our map. What I would like folks to look at is,
That's-
yeah, so this is our new map that, yeah, I know, we're gonna go off to camera, Jim. This is the new map that we asked Matt to pull together for us last meeting. I thought he did an excellent job. If there are any comments that we have after looking at this, we can write them down and he. Yeah, we're gonna go back.
Did Matt send it electronically? If so, I can.
Not to me, he didn't.
Probably should put it.
That I can't participate in this.
Oh,
We'll describe it for you.
And HCAM.
yeah,
Pink and green with some yellow and
you
red.
wanna post?
There's lines. You take a left at the traffic.
Okay, so you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna, because the audience can't participate and Jim can't participate,
That's okay.
we're gonna postpone it for now.
Okay.
And we will talk about it at the next meeting, but
You guys can, hey, Jane, you can talk about it. I can follow along as much as I can, and then maybe I can look at it at town meeting or something. I don't know. Somebody
yeah,
can
but
bring-
also HCAM can't be able, won't be
Oh, I
able to
see.
see it
Okay.
tonight.
All right, fair enough.
So I think we should probably just come back here,
long as it's
look at
not
our
my fault.
minutes.
Can I make a?
There is a new 12-mile section named the Jim Cirillo Trail.
Yeah, nice. For seniors
so-
only.
Let's jump to the minutes. The minutes are in front of us. Elaine was great and.
Comment?
Minutes for anyone? I've got them.
Okay. You'll come back.
So, let's look at March 15 first.
I have,
This was when Joel was here to speak.
I have a comment, about 5 lines down,
And number two,
number 2, it says, not all the greenway is great. What he said is, it's not great for riding. Well, that's an important qualification.
for riding a
Riding.
bike in the road. Or is that what you mean? For riding a bike?
Riding a bike is.
Okay.
is
Okay.
for Riding a bike.
Okay. Okay, good point. Anything else? Okay, if there aren't anything else, I'll take a motion to accept the minutes of March 15,
I make
2023.
I make a motion to accept the March 15 minutes as amended. That not all of the greenway is great for riding bikes.
Okay, second.
I second.
Okay, we're gonna take a roll call.
Yeah, sorry to make you do that.
That's okay. Jim, how do you vote?
Yes. All right.
Okay, Sin, how do you vote?
Yes.
Eli, how do you
Yes,
vote?
yes.
Ken,
Yeah.
Scott?
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Okay, Scott's an abstain. I vote yes. Eric, how do you vote about the minutes of March 15th when Joel was here?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Now we'll take the minutes of April 10. This was our last public meeting. This is when, I think Tim first joined us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got one comment.
one comment. Can you
A
identify?
very trivial one, but, the fourth line down from, in section 4 of discussion, second paragraph. The first word of the fourth line is something that I supposedly did. I think it's supposed to be stated,
Sorry.
change the word, but.
Okay, so
Can you please point?
fourth paragraph, item number 4, then what?
Second paragraph, it starts with Mr. Post.
Yep,
And then the fourth line starts with the word steed, which is clearly an error.
Uh-huh.
I just recommend that be changed to the obvious
said.
statement or whatever.
Stated, I know.
Stated.
Everyone else states.
Any verb that actually is something I could do. that-
Okay, well, that was a good catch. Okay, anything else?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended with stated substituting steed.
Okay, so we have a motion and there's a first and a second to accept the minutes as amended for April 10, 2023. How do you vote, Eric?
Yes,
Jamie? Oh, no, Jamie. Jim?
I'll abstain. I wasn't there.
Jim's gonna abstain. Sin?
Yes.
Yes,
Eli?
yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
And Jane is a yes. Okay. Very good.
you know that even if you're not at the meeting, you can still vote.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. And I read them, but
So,
I know that.
Okay, so moving on, I think we have a couple of topics for the next meeting. One is
survey.
to work on the survey or to have a report from the working group on the survey. Let's see, what else did I write down here?
Oh, obviously gonna talk about town meeting, whatever happens there.
Okay, good.
Public
Anything-
feedback.
Should we begin the discussion on inbound questions we get? Come up with a process?
We
I don't
could
know if we'll come to any conclusions, but start at least
begin this
begin
discussion.
the discussion,
Okay,
put the ideas on the table.
how did you phrase it? Begin discussion on inbound question?
Yeah, in the process for handling inbound questions.
Also,
And maybe making recommendations.
And that could be just coupled with Michelle being here,
So,
you know.
or Dave.
yeah,
You're gonna invite Michelle?
yeah, we ought to.
Michelle or Dave? I
Yeah,
mean,
invite Michelle.
Dave,
Yeah, I guess she's in the phone line.
Dave should be here. Okay.
No, our next meeting's after Hop 101 as well. It is. right?
Okay, so I'm getting to that. Any other discussion, any other agenda items?
That's what I was getting at.
Okay,
You know,
So-
brief from that as well.
so our next meeting actually is posted for the 3rd, but I
It's not a.
didn't recommend it because the town meeting could go over.
Right.
So maybe we should have IT take that off. So I did post on this one, if it's okay with everybody, to meet on the 10th, Wednesday, the 10th, which is the following
That works for me.
Wednesday.
Would that mean meeting on the 10th and the 17th?
No.
We could make
we
that
could-
determination as the 10th.
We could skip it on the 17th and go to the last Wednesday, if that's comfortable for the committee.
We can make that decision at the 10th.
Yeah, but,
I can make the 10th.
okay.
I can make it-
And what's
Maybe
the,
I'll leave earlier.
is 2 meetings in a row a lot for everybody, or should we just skip the 17th and go to the following Wednesday?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would.
yeah.
Okay, so
Get back
can
on
somebody
cycle.
tell me
The
what the
first
Wednesday
Wednesday.
is following the 10th?
The 24th, or the 10th.
24th.
I can't make the
24th.
17th and then the 24th.
Make the 24th? Okay, whatever.
If I had my choice, I'd just stick it on the 17th. but-
There's a,
2 in a row of these is too much.
No, what I'm saying.
Don't have enough new material.
No 10th. Do it on
No
the
10th.
Yeah, that's better. Just do 17th.
Well, okay, so I'm hearing a couple of different things.
This-
There's a
back
public
on
forum on the
cycle.
24th, so how about if we skip the 10th and make it the 17th then?
Sure.
Okay, next meeting,
Good.
the 17th, 6:30, down here in this room.
That's our regular meeting anyway, so
That's right, that's right.
It's hard to believe it's May,
sorry, what was the date?
the 17th.
We're not, Jane, we're not meeting on the 3rd.
No meeting on the 3rd, no,
And then let me-
our next meeting's the
not on the
17th.
10th.
We figured we're gonna be meeting.
So just be the 17th, and then we'll be back on cycle, the 1st and the 3rd. I think that's fair,
You know,
given that we're going to, most of us will be at town meeting.
Like when we had one year we met through Thursday.
If you're
Is it
interested in
really?
It ended at midnight on Thursday.
Yeah, what is it?
I don't remember that.
planning for
Huh?
center school.
I don't remember that.
Trust me, I was,
Oh, that would
This
be
is
the
the walk-up
Would be
flyer.
hard to forget. Oh, I wasn't.
That permanent building
participating.
committee is up.
we
I
did
remember a lot of,
plan.
Yeah.
We were doing
Okay.
streets, we did.
yeah, well, then I was there.
About the next, that Elaine brought to our attention, thank you, there's a public forum meeting on the 24th, and it's the permanent building committee, and they're going to talk about center school, so it might be something,
Yeah.
Wood and the Fruit Street. project.
okay, Elmwood and the Fruit Street, that's a lot.
Oh, That's a lot.
So that might be something that we want to go to.
Right.
Okay, Jamie, have good fun time on your
Yeah.
your school committee.
Yay, thanks.
Here, Jamie. Hey,
Good luck, Jamie.
is that 7 o'clock on the 24th?
I don't, it would be I think
On
it's,
the 17th.
No,
Yeah.
this is the public forum. This is,
Probably,
Good reason for
I don't know.
us not to have a meeting on the 24th.
so, wait a minute, Jim asked if it is 7
it's
o'clock.
at 4.
Yeah, is it 7 o'clock?
No, I think there's a period of time, maybe 6:30 to 8, but the formal announcement hasn't come out yet, so I can't.
Okay.
confirm.
I'll keep an eye out for it. All right, thanks.
So what
But our-
website, I guess.
6:30.
Okay, I think we covered a lot of ground here tonight.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Can I, put in my comment about the books?
Smith,
Yeah.
I think we decided to
Is this intentional?
stop all
You
comments
open it up
until next,
and the map.
because nobody can see it.
Upside down.
No, that's not supposed to be the case. I think Jane took it, it's not supposed to be the case at all. Jane took it off for
Yeah,
printing.
no, that's
No.
good.
No. We didn't print too many, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have,
Change that.
wait a minute, I'll take that comment in a minute. We have an emotion and a second, all in favor of adjourning.
Aye.
Oh, yeah,
And-
roll call. Eric,
yeah.
Jim,
Aye,
how do you vote?
Aye.
aye.
Eli,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Scott, and
Yes.
Jane is a yes.
Elaine is.
Okay, we
is
are up. Thank you,
Westerling-
everyone.
Is John Westerling still